Season 1 of The Last of Us introduces Joel Miller, a single father raising his teenage daughter Sarah, when an outbreak of mutated cordyceps begins ravaging the country and turning normal humans into monsters. As Joel flees with Sarah and his brother Tommy, the family are confronted by soldiers trying to contain the outbreak, resulting in Sarah being shot and tragically dying in her father's arms. 20 years later, human civilization has completely collapsed and the world has become overrun with infected humans. A depressed Joel now lives in a military quarantine zone in Boston, run by the remnants of the Federal Disaster Response Agency. Joel and his romantic partner Tess work as smugglers, selling illegal contraband to survivors in various nearby settlements. Joel has plans to travel to Wyoming to reunite with his brother Tommy, who he has not seen in years and has recently stopped all contact. But while trying to buy a working car battery from a man named Robert, Joel is scammed and the battery is sold to a rebel group known as the Fireflies, who resist Fedra's control of the settlement. Joel then meets with Marlene, the leader of the Fireflies, who was seriously injured when her deal with Robert went awry. Marlene pleads with Joel and Tess to take the teenage stranger Ellie to the Massachusetts State House, in exchange for the supplies they'd need to reach Wyoming. Reluctant but desperate, Joel agrees to Marlene's deal. As Joel and Tess escort Ellie out of the quarantine zone, they are confronted by a soldier who scans them all and discovers that Ellie is infected. Joel is reminded of Sarah's death and brutally murders the soldier to save Ellie's life. Ellie then explains that she had been raised by Marlene from a young age and put through the quarantine zone's military school, but a few weeks prior she was bitten by an infected. Miraculously, her own infection has yet to spread, and so Marlene plotted to deliver Ellie to Firefly scientists in the hope that she could be studied to uncover a cure that would save the world. Along their journey to the State House, Joel, Tess, and Ellie are attacked by a horde of clickers, blind infected that are attracted to sound. Amidst the conflict, Ellie is bitten, but her wound heals, proving her immunity. Unfortunately, upon reaching the State House, the group discovers that the Fireflies have all been killed, and a horde of clickers begin to close in. Tess then reveals that she too has been bitten, which means certain death. And so, Tess bids an emotional farewell with Joel, encouraging him to continue protecting Ellie before sacrificing herself to destroy the clicker horde. A distraught Joel then plans to take Ellie to his smuggler friends Bill and Frank. 20 years ago, at the start of the outbreak, Bill had built himself a compound that included a well-kept home, several shops, an electric fence, and a series of traps to prevent the infected from reaching him. After years of living his own private and peaceful life, a stranger named Frank arrived seeking refuge. Despite Bill being hesitant to trust this stranger, Frank helped Bill remember and appreciate the joys of life, and soon the two fell in love and established their own idyllic life together. During this time, Frank encouraged Bill to be more open and trusting with others, eventually leading them to meeting and forging a friendship and partnership with Joel and Tess. In the present, Frank has developed a degenerative disease that has left him reliant on Bill for taking care of all of his physical needs. Not wanting to live this life any longer, Frank chooses to live one final perfect day, marrying Bill in a personal and intimate ceremony before drinking a poisoned wine and willingly going to sleep a final time together. A few weeks later, Joel and Ellie arrive at the compound, discovering the dead lovers and that Bill had left all of his possessions to Joel and Tess. Joel has an emotional breakdown over all of the loved ones that he has lost, but resolves to use Bill's truck to take Ellie to Wyoming to find Tommy, in the hopes that he can deliver Ellie to the surviving Firefly scientists. On their cross-country journey, Joel has become hardened by heartbreak and refuses to emotionally connect with Ellie out of fear of losing another loved one. While traveling through Kansas City, the pair are ambushed by a group of bandits, led by a woman named Kathleen, who is vigilantly searching for a pair of survivors, Henry and his little brother Sam. Henry had accidentally gotten Kathleen's brother killed after ratting the rebel out to Fedra, who in turn executed him in exchange for leukemia meds for Sam. Joel and Ellie manage to evade Kathleen's capture and hide within the city, where they eventually encounter the brothers. Joel agrees to allow Henry and Sam to accompany them on their journey, leading to Ellie and Sam forming a friendship. Kathleen and her militia mercilessly hunt Henry, and when they finally catch him, infected from underground break out onto the streets, causing widespread chaos. A massive infected known as a bloater kills Kathleen's right right-hand man, while a child clicker kills Kathleen. Joel, Ellie, Henry, and Sam manage to escape both the militia and the infected and reach safety. Unfortunately, Sam was bitten during the escape, which Ellie keeps a secret, spreading her own blood on the wound in the hopes that it will cure him. Sadly, this fails to save Sam, and Henry is forced to kill his brother before choosing to follow him in death. 3 months later, Joel and Ellie finally reach Wyoming, where they reunite with Tommy, who is now living amongst a thriving settlement in Jackson. There, Tommy introduces Joel to his pregnant wife Maria. Secretly, Joel asks Tommy to take Ellie to the Firefly lab without him, as Joel feels he is not a good or worthy enough protector. Although Tommy agrees, Ellie is distraught that Joel is abandoning her, while Joel argues that he has no real responsibility for her, as she is not his daughter and he is not her father. But that night, Joel realizes his failure to properly grieve Sarah has impacted his ability to bond with Ellie, and ultimately chooses to continue his journey with her. But just as Joel is finally ready to give in to his paternal emotions toward Ellie, the pair are attacked by a group of raiders who mortally wound Joel. Ellie has developed a strong love for her protector Joel and refuses to let him die. And so Ellie steps up to be Joel's protector as she nurses him back to health. While hunting a deer, Ellie encounters the strangers David and James, who trade her penicillin to heal Joel's infected wound in exchange for the deer to feed their small community of survivors. Unfortunately, as Ellie gives Joel the penicillin, she realizes that the raiders that Joel had killed were actually members of David's community, who now seek vengeance. To protect Joel and keep his location a secret, Ellie leads the group astray before ultimately being captured by them. While in prison, David confesses to Ellie that his community has been forced to turn to cannibalism to survive. As David and James attempt to murder her to feed their people, Ellie fights them off, killing them both but leaving her seriously traumatized. Joel then arrives, too late to save her himself, but comforts Ellie from the horrors she has endured as if she were his own daughter. As the season comes to a close, Joel contemplates abandoning their mission to return to Jackson and live a peaceful life together as a family with Tommy and Maria. But Ellie is determined to see their mission through to the end. Eventually, the pair are confronted by fireflies, who take them to their secret lab in Salt Lake City. There, Joel reunites with Marlene, who explains that Ellie's mother had been bitten and infected during childbirth, causing cordyceps to grow on Ellie's brain as a newborn that somehow has instilled in her an immunity. And that's when Joel realizes that the fireflies intend to cut out Ellie's brain to study the cordyceps, killing her in the process. Refusing to allow another daughter to die, Joel storms through the hospital, killing anyone who stands in his way. When the surgeon attempting to operate on Ellie refuses to give up on a potentially world-saving experiment, Joel shoots him dead before taking the unconscious Ellie and fleeing. Marlene desperately tries to stop Joel, but he refuses to listen, coldly murdering her to ensure that there is no one left alive that knows Ellie's secret. As Ellie wakes from her anesthesia, Joel lies to her, saying that the fireflies had found other immune people, but discovered it was impossible to develop a cure. And now fully viewing Joel as her father figure, Ellie chooses to believe him.